You are tuned in to a Fireside Chat with Zany Mystic. Join us now on another exciting metaphysical journey. Relax, tune in, drop out, and take a seat by the fire as we explore new realms and possibilities. This is Magenta Pixie. You can find me at magentapixie.weebly.com. But now, here is Zany Mystic and guest. Enjoy the show.
Greetings, and welcome to a Fireside Chat with Zany Mystic. I'm your host, Lance White. Tonight, my guest is Michael J. Murphy. Michael is a journalist and political activist from the Los Angeles area whose work focuses on issues that go beyond the interest of the corporate mainstream media. He recently finished co-producing the documentary, What in the World Are They Spraying?, which focuses on the mysteries surrounding aerosol geoengineering, otherwise known as chemtrails. This is a groundbreaking work which has the full support of the Democratic watchdog, G. Edward Griffin. He also appears in the movie. Until now, none have dared approach this subject head-on with such care and objectivity. You can see clips of the film or purchase it and read Michael's blog at www.truthmediaproductions.blogspot.com. So let's welcome Michael to the show now. Hi, Michael. How are you?
Oh, doing great, Lance. How are you doing?
Good. It's a real fireside chat tonight because where I'm at in Northern California it dipped to 40, and I've got a fire going in the fireplace. So we're really having a fireplace chat. Fireside chat. It's legitimate tonight. So one of the things I wanted to do before we get into your work is to thank you for making this film, because this is something that many people have been disturbed by for decades, really. It's been going on for decades, and nobody's had the courage or the wherewithal to make a film on this, and it's about time, and I really want to give you high marks for having done the film.
Mm-hmm. Well, thanks for...
Just out of curiosity, how did you get interested in making it?
Well, it's kind of a long story. It'll take a while to explain, but I had moved to Los Angeles a little over a year ago, and as I had become aware a few years back about the chemtrail issue and got curious about it and started doing some research. But after I had moved to the Los Angeles area, they were just hammering us about 5 to 6 days a week with real heavy chemtrailing. So I got a film crew one day, and I said, let's go out and start interviewing people and, show them what's going on and see what they know about what's happening right over their heads. So I produced a short video called Environmental Deception. It was about 18 minutes long, and I went out to Hollywood Boulevard and interviewed people, and not much to my surprise, but I realized that most people were totally unaware of this issue. But the real interest in the film did not start until I had an opportunity to go to the American Association for the Advancement of Science meeting, which was held in San Diego. And at that meeting, geoengineers proposed their models for spraying 10 to 20 million tons of toxic aluminum and other particles into the sky from what they said was the stated goal of cooling the planet. So I was totally shocked when I heard, what they had been proposing, and also learned a lot of things about the program. So I went home, back to L.A., and I wrote an article about the meeting and also about what people had been finding, which is massive amounts of... So what I did, I sent that article to an online publication, and I put my email address and my phone number, not thinking it would go very far. When I woke up the next morning, my phone was ringing off the hook, and my inbox was flooded with emails because I literally broke the story of the use of aluminum in geoengineering models. And, of course, aluminum has been found in thousands of times the normal amounts in rain and snow samples, and that's a relatively new phenomenon in about the past 10 or 15 years since the inception of these programs. So people started sending me plane tickets and said, hey, we want you to document this. So I call it a divinely ordered film, and I just walked through the doors that were opened and, had a lot of incredible people come on board and support me in this, including G. Edward Griffin. So essentially, it was I just walked through the doors.
Well, I'm glad you did. During the making of the film, I saw from the short clip that you went to Hawaii for one thing, and you went to Washington, I believe. Can you tell us what some of the places were that you were able to visit and verify that there were chemtrails in those states and locations as well?
Sure, absolutely. And we went around the United States, and we also went over to Europe. But I think it would be best if we start with really the second part of the trip. We went and filmed the geoengineers talking about their models and proposals. Of course, geoengineers blatantly deny that these programs have been implemented and state that what people are experiencing are just simple, normal contrails. We conclusively proved that wrong within the film. And what we did, we went to Northern California for the first part of the film. And about 15 years ago, people in the area of Redding and Mount Shasta, which is just beautiful, pristine land, and it's God's country. There's no industry in that area. About 15 years ago, they started seeing a mass die-off of their trees and amphibians and insects in that area. So the scientists in the area started testing the soil for pH tests, and what they found was shocking. They found that the pH was increasing. We're not talking an increase of 2 times, 5 times, an increase minimal 10 times the normal amounts, but up to 12 times the normal amounts of alkalinity in the soil. And if anybody knows, any plant life that requires an acidic soil to grow will die when the soil goes too alkaline. So what they did, they started doing further tests. And what they found was deeply shocking. In rain tests and snow tests, they found massive amounts of aluminum, barium, and strontium. And I'll give you an example of the amounts. There should be no aluminum, barium, and strontium in rain and snow samples. Mount Shasta, about 7 years ago, yielded about 7 parts per billion of aluminum, which is high. Last year, a test taken by a retired USDA biologist, Francis Mangels, yielded, and this is going to shock people, 61,100 parts per billion of aluminum. It's literally toxic. People are climbing on that mountain. They're using snow for hydration, and it's literally poison. And these are tests that they're finding on a regular basis now. And, of course, during the filming, when we're outside, you could just see the plane spraying back and forth, back and forth. They really get hit extremely hard up in that area. So deeply concerning. But, yeah, I mean, there have been thousands of tests that we uncovered that have been taken around the world that, again, reveal massive amounts of aluminum, barium, and strontium. Those metals and those combinations will drive a soil base, exactly what's being found around the world. And, of course, the world is seeing a die-off of ecology.
Absolutely. I've seen pictures of chemtrails over the Eiffel Tower and over Australia and various other countries, so I know that they're over there. Were there any countries that were simply not part of that program that you were aware of?
Well, some. I've heard that Colombia and parts of South America, some countries are not reporting them. However, this appears to be, it is definitely a global issue, and as G. Edward Griffin stated during our interview, it's happening over every NATO country. So there appears to be a political alliance. We believe that due to the agendas involved, and I hope that we can get into that it is a world government or New World Order agenda, because it certainly fits in with some of the goals of the New World Order agenda. So, again, there are a few countries that have not reported this. However, and it's not only limited to NATO countries. It is in most countries. And again, it's very toxic to ecology and human health.
Let's talk a little bit about the agenda, because I think that's important to try and get a little more clarity about the intent and use of these things. As I understand it, some of the various uses have to do with controlling the weather and also manipulating earthquakes and tidal waves and various other things. And that's been going on, that's kind of a subtle war that's been going on between different countries for some time now, in conjunction with HAARP. But there have been rumors that this is also something that has to do with, reducing the population. And I was shocked to see, I think I saw it in your little clip, that Monsanto has engineered genetically modified seeds that allow for aluminum. And so let's tell us a little more about what you've discovered as you've gone along through this process.
Okay, and Lance, you've studied very well, because you just hit the 3 points that I was going to hit, and I'd like to touch on. So it was excellent, but yeah, the HAARP program is, for some of the listeners who are not aware of that, the HAARP program is a new technology. Well, it's probably not too new, but it's a technology that has weather modification and earthquake capabilities, can cause earthquakes. And of course, we've seen dramatic weather changes, and what many people believe is a new type of warfare called weather warfare, where we are seeing this drastic weather. Now, the HAARP program is believed to require fine metal particulate to emit its frequencies through, and it also requires metal particulate to heat up the ionosphere, because it can manipulate and change jet streams. So there is a military application with that, and just think about the power that you could have if you could control the weather. Let's say if you wanted to create global governance and there was a country that did not want to submit, well, you could just send a drought over there into that country and literally destroy them, and then thus taking control. And I always use that one of the larger earthquakes. Of course, we've seen dramatic increase in the number of earthquakes in the past 10 years, and I'm going to bring the Haiti earthquake and use that as an example. Many people believe that was in part, or that was totally created by HAARP technology. Of course, the U.S. government was Johnny on the spot. They were there the next day. But ironically, I've heard rumors, and I have to verify them, that the U.S. government was in South Florida preparing to do Haiti hurricane relief, so they just happened to be ready there with that great intuition. Of course, they went in and militarily occupied it with the support of the American people, going, God, our government is great. They're bringing aid to all these people. But I think there's a much more ominous plan, and they can use these types of technologies with the support of the American people, who are completely unsuspecting that there might be a more diabolical and warfare application behind it. So, but you had touched on an important issue and population reduction, and we know that if you look at source documents from the Rothschild family, the Rockefeller family, and even Bill Gates, who, by the way, is a heavy funder into geoengineering programs, and if we look at the health implications associated with just spraying aluminum, barium, and strontium, we know they're spraying much more, but we only covered those three substances within the film. We've seen aluminum-related illness go through the roof. Alzheimer's is one of them. In L.A. County, we've seen over a 200% increase in Alzheimer's in a 10-year period. Barium lowers our immune system, creates high blood pressure. Any emergency room physician who is aware of aerosol spraying will let you know during heavy spray days, emergency rooms are packed with people coming in with strokes, heart attacks, and then some lesser things, burning eyes, irritability. We know that strontium is a carcinogen, and I'm going to bring up respiratory mortality, which in the past 5 years has gone from number 8 on the list of mortality just down to number 3. So we're seeing an incredible increase in not only aluminum-related illness, but illnesses related to respiratory and other things. And of